Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tim Hay with NASPA Value Point, and I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar presentation to roll out a new contract portfolio for NASPA Value Point. It's for fire trucks and fire apparatus. And we have Billy Beard on the call today, and he'll be walking us through the new portfolio. But just a couple of quick housekeeping items. We are recording today's webinar, so this will be available up on the website a little later on this afternoon under the fire truck portfolio, along with a separate file that just has the slide deck. Also, if you could mute your phones, if you're going to be in a noisy area or if you have to leave your phone for any reason, please use the mute button instead of the hold button. Some state systems have that on hold music, and that's kind of distracting to a webinar. And we will take questions at the end of today's presentation. So as we're walking through the presentation today, just keep track of those questions, and we'll take questions at the end. With that, I'd like to introduce Billy Beard and crew down there in Jackson, Mississippi, and he will walk us through today's presentation. So, Billy, take it away.
All right, thanks, Tim. As you can see from this first slide, this is a fire truck and fire apparatus cooperative contract that the state of Mississippi did in cooperation with NASPA Value Point. This is the state of Mississippi's first ever as a lead state for a contract for NASPA Value Point. So we're pretty proud that we finally did one. This next slide you see is our sourcing team. I was very fortunate to have a couple of people on our team, Daniel Downen and Kathy Sanchez, who were both volunteer firefighters, and their input as to what we needed to be looking at was very valuable. The other team member was Lena Groninger from the state of New Jersey, and then we had Wayne Cranford, who is the Director of Fleet Management for the state, and myself as the other two members of the sourcing team. And our direct contact was Tim Hay. All right, so the purpose of this thing was to provide a source or sources for the purchase of fire trucks and fire apparatus. The main reason was that we wanted to be able to obtain a more favorable pricing for our governing authorities here in the state of Mississippi, that they could better price and more value that they could provide themselves by doing their own procurement for a fire truck. And our sole purpose was to be able to award to multiple vendors. We previously participated in another contract where we had 8 or 10 vendors, and that was our main focus, was to provide our local authorities the opportunity to be able to purchase the fire truck brand that they were accustomed to using and met the needs of their fleet. Scope of services. There were really 4 components that made up our scope of services: the marketing of the master agreement, meeting the delivery needs of our customer, training both on-site and at the factory for the apparatus and the pump safety training also. And the bid was to include inspection at 3 different stages: pre-delivery, bid inspection, and a final inspection. Our RFP process, this was a long and drawn out affair, but it was, in the end, it was all worth it. We originally released an RFP back in June of 2015. We conducted a pre-proposal conference on July the 7th. We didn't receive any amendments or didn't issue any amendments. The original RFP closed on August the 14th. We only received 2 proposals, and after review, both of those were deemed non-responsive. So during that review process, we decided to re-release the RFP after some major overhaul of the way it went out. So we re-released on February the 10th. The closing date was March the 31st of 2016. We received 7 proposals, and I'm glad to say that we were able to award to all 7 of those that sent a proposal in. Our contract term is for 3 years, started September the 1st and we have two additional one-year terms that it can be renewed. We can't exceed 5 years by state law in Mississippi, so we got it at the maximum term that we could allow. Evaluation criteria. We had some pass-fail, some scoring, both on the administrative and technical side and on the cost side. We did it at 1,000 points in order to give us, in case there was a break, that we could either eliminate or use all 7 that proposed. And fortunately, based on the scoring, and we were able to award all 7. The way we did this was we asked for a base price of the truck that they wanted to bid on, and then a discount from that MSRP that would also apply to any options that the manufacturer offered to go along with that particular truck. The evaluation results, like I said, we were able to ask them to clarify and opportunity to increase or decrease their discount to us. And since all offers were deemed responsive, we awarded 7 contracts. The next slide will show you that the 7 vendors that were awarded. We have Deep South Fire Trucks, which we were glad that they were able to be awarded because they're a Mississippi company based in Seminary, Mississippi, and we have a lot of the local fire chiefs that do order from them. The national manufacturers were E1, Ferrara Fire Apparatus, HME, Kovach, Pierce Manufacturing, and Rosenbauer, South Dakota. So I think we're very pleased with the 7 that we have on contract. I can't think of any other really national manufacturer that didn't present a proposal and were awarded a contract. So I think from our perspective, we're very pleased with the 7 that we've got here on contract now. So next slide says how to get started. First of all, you select a contractor, and then you have to complete the participating addendum process, which your chief procurement officer for your state should have access to on the website, the NASPO Value Point website. And the contractor will work with each either state or procuring entity to establish the base pricing for the truck and then the discounted options that each particular fire chief would want on his truck. And after approval by the procuring entity, they will issue a purchase order. And the key to us here is for purposes of price verification and audit. Once they receive the purchase order, they will send an order confirmation that lists all the applicable pricing under the contract and showing that it complies with the discount that they've offered. And that comes pretty much to the end of my portion of it. My contact information is listed there, phone number and email address. And so at this time, if there's any questions, I'd be glad to try to answer them for you. If not, we'll turn it right over to Tim to go over the participating addendum part of it.
Thank you, Billy. And just to clarify that this contract really is set up as sort of a catalog-based agreement to where the vendor's catalog, the entire vendor's catalog is available to states and poly subs to purchase from, and there's a discount that's applied to those to that catalog pricing. So it really does have a lot of options available for the fire departments across the United States to purchase exactly the type of truck they want. Billy, we might want to also mention that there are several classes of fire trucks that are available.
Yeah, the last page of each contract will show the particular vehicles or fire trucks that they were awarded, anywhere from pumpers to wildland to ARF vehicles, just whichever ones that they submitted a price proposal on. And that price sheet will also have the discount rate that they will offer on the truck and any options that are ordered. All that's on the very last page of the contracts that are posted on our website.
All righty. Well, let's talk about the participating addendum process. We recognize that probably a lot of political subdivisions will want to take advantage of these contracts now that we have them available, but we'll talk about both states participating as well as political subdivisions participating under this agreement. So as you may know, all 50 states and the District of Columbia, as well as the U.S. territories, have executed a NASPO Cooperative Memorandum of Agreement that allows them to use any of our NASPO Value Point cooperative portfolios. We have roughly, I think, 61 contracting portfolios right now available through NASPO Value Point, and we have several in the public safety arena, and fire trucks is just the latest offering that we're making available to all of our public safety officials out there. So we're excited about that. The participating addendums allows states and political subdivisions to select the contractors that they choose to use, and we do have 7 available under fire trucks. If they have their own state administrative fee, they can certainly negotiate that into their participating addendum. Also, some states have some unique terms and conditions that are only applicable to them, and they can negotiate in those T's and C's. We've put together a master agreement that has a lot of the vanilla terms and conditions that really apply across all states and entities, and we're hoping that states will be able to utilize those T's and C's contained in the master agreement and just only negotiate in those additional T's and C's specific to them that aren't included. The participating addendums will also identify the options available for political subdivisions within their states and their ability to participate, and also if they have any specific in-state reporting requirements or any other requirements that they need in their state that's not already included in the master agreement. So these are the options for states and political subdivisions to negotiate into their PAs. There are 3 options for participation. We always encourage option number 1 whenever possible. The state will sign a participating addendum that includes all the state agencies as well as the political subdivisions within their state. Sometimes states are not able to participate in one of our agreements, but they don't have any objections to a political subdivision participating. So then they would do option 2, which a state would sign a participating addenda that allows for political subdivision use only in their state, but it would exclude state agencies. And then sometimes a state is not able to execute a participating addendum at all. That doesn't mean political subdivisions are out in the cold. They still have the option to participate, but it would be through their own participating addendum, and we would have to first check in with the chief procurement officer in that state to make sure that they don't have any objections. And then once we have that confirmation from the chief procurement officer in that state, then the political subdivision can negotiate that participating addendum on their own. Now, this question comes up a lot. A lot of political subdivisions will say, well, the chief procurement officer in my state doesn't have any authority over my county, and we recognize that. However, that state may already have an existing contract in place for fire trucks, and they may not want us to have our contract compete with theirs. So that is why we give the states that check-in process to make sure we're not competing against any in-state contracts that they may have. We're fortunate, though, I'm not aware of a lot of states that have existing contracts for fire trucks, so we're hoping that a lot of states will be able to utilize these agreements. But the step-by-step state for executing a PA are pretty much the same in all 3 cases. It's primarily a direct negotiation between the entity and the contractor. The state of Mississippi or NASPO Value Point, we do not get involved in your negotiations, nor do we approve the resulting participating addendum. We are available to answer any questions you have. So if you're unsure of a term or a condition in the master agreement or a pricing structure, feel free to reach out to us and we can answer that question. Or if you're not unsure of the participating addendum process, feel free to contact us as well, and we're here to help. But we do not approve those participating addendums, nor do we go to the table with you when you negotiate those PAs. Once you've signed that participating addendum and it's executed, then you just need to send that in to us, and the address to send it to is at NASPOValuePoint.org. So opportunity 1 and 2 are pretty much the same, just direct negotiations between the state and the contractor. Option number 3 is where a political subdivision wants to participate. We would first need to check in with the Chief Procurement Officer, as I mentioned earlier. And what you would do is just send us an email, and you can send the email to either myself or to one of our addresses at info@NASPOValuePoint.org, and then we will get in contact with the Chief Procurement Officer on your behalf to make sure that they don't have any objections. And provided that they don't have any objections, then we would send back a confirmation email to you and let you go out and negotiate directly with that contractor. And then once you've had that executed participating addendum, you would just send it into the same PA@NASPOValuePoint.org address. Here's just a handy-dandy flow chart that kind of shows how it all works. We have 2 tracks here, one for participating states, and that follows along here, and then one if it's a political subdivision, and this talks about checking in with the CPO to make sure that they don't have any objections. And this flow chart is also posted on the NASPO Value Point website. So just some things to remember. We do have sample participating addendums located on the NASPO Value Point website. It's on each of the contractors' pages, and it's personalized to each contractor. So you want to use that as the starting document when you start negotiating those participating addendums. We will maintain all of the executed participating addendums on our website, and also we have a file repository as well. Participating states and entities will be identified on our website using that infamous map that we've had for years. As I mentioned earlier, the lead state nor NASPO Value Point does not get involved with your negotiations. We are available, though, to answer any questions. And we ask that you only submit completed and negotiated PAs with signatures from both parties to us once completed to the NASPO, that PA@NASPOValuePoint.org address. And the reason for that is we don't want to make the mistake of posting a PA that's still a work in progress, because we do receive in a lot of PAs, and we don't want to, like I said, make a mistake of posting something that isn't correct. And please submit those completed participating addendums in a PDF format. With that, my contact information is right here. Feel free to reach out to me or to Billy if we can answer any questions for you. All of the information is available out on the NASPO Value Point website. We have a copy of the original or the latest RFP that went out, and a copy of the evaluation scoring matrix, as well as copies of all the master agreements and sample participating addenda and pricing sheets as well. So with that, I'd like to open it up to any questions that anybody may have.
Hi, I don't think we'll have any questions on the side of Louisiana. What we'll do is we currently have fire truck Lamaze contracts, so I'll take a look at the NASPO contracts and compare the pricing or the discounts to what we currently have and see if it'll save us money, and then I'll get with our assistant director and go from there with if we are interested.
All right, well, I appreciate that, LaToya, and I thank you for joining us today. And are there any other questions? If not, I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to join the webinar today. As I mentioned, we will get this posted up on the website a little later on this afternoon, along with a copy of today's slide deck. And I just like to wish you all a great day. And thanks for joining.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you so much.